Hey, welcome to another video. In this video, we are going to write our custom filter on the collection page. So I'm going to strip off all the code from down theme, and I'll show you how you can write much less code using Alpine.js and a custom filter on the collection page. So let's check it out. In the previous video, you understood how filter work in Shopify, how it was in the past, and now how we can use storefront filtering on the collection page. If you haven't watched the previous video, please do. That is very important for you to understand, and also the resources that I showed you how things are together. So let's come here. If I check the guideline as I showed in the previous video, there are two ways we can display the filters, either at the top or in the left side or in the right side. It doesn't matter which side you display, as long as it is vertical or horizontal, and it is acceptable by Shopify also. I really like this sidebar display. The down by default it is at the top, but this sidebar looks much nicer to me. So I will use this approach and we will see how we can add our own filter. So if I come to the code, this is the down theme, and in the previous video I showed that the facet is the file for all the filters. So basically this filter will contain all of those like filtering that we need for the search page and the collection page. If I check out the code, it is almost like 500 lines of code, right? Now it is a lot. I know it is a lot of code, but all it does is it just take care of the filtering for us. Why not we make it much less than this? They also have a JavaScript file, which is all of this. Around like 220 line, and also some CSS that I don't want to see like what is written in here. But I'm going to write much less code than that, as I said. So let's come to the collection page. This is where we set enable sorting, which is at the top. And after this, we have this collection grid. Let's first put a basic layout for this. I'm going to use this flex in here, and we will display this in a flex box. So how do we add this? Let me just give it a class. Since this is the sidebar, how much of the 12 column we want to give it? If I want to give 3 out of column, you say width should be 3 out of 12. Out of 12 column, we will get 3 for this one, and I will call it as a h3, I call it filters. Something like this. But we can change it anytime in the future. Okay, now let's take a look at this one. And first of all, we move it inside the flex. It should display side by side with our filter, and let's give it also a class of width. And how much remaining from 12 pixel, 12 column, 9 out of 12, something like this. Now of course it is only for desktop. For mobile it will be different. Currently we are not working on mobile version. We will do that in the future, but for now, if I save it, you can see my watcher is also watching these changes. Let's come to store. Let's refresh it, and this is where we display the filter, but it has some spacing issues. So if I come here, you can see we have added this page width directly in here, and instead of adding that here, I'm going to remove it from both sides, and we are going to add it directly in the flex in here. But we could do much better, but for now it's fine. If we add the page width in here, which has the class of max width, and it will display everything nicely and properly. Now let's add the filters in here. Since filter are some more codes, why not we extract it in a snippet? So I will come to the snippet directory, and I will give it a filter that liquid name, or filters. Let's call it filters that liquid. You can give it more like accurate name of collection filter or search filter, but that's fine for now. In the future we can change that. Now instead of this, I am going to include filters.liquid. Now instead of include, as I said, we render it, and let's pass some like data to it. We call it results collection, something like that. We pass the collection as a result or as a data. In here, let's give it a class of filters. And in here again, h3, it is, oops, we already have it. This is going to be the filter. It should look the same way, but yeah, we didn't do any changes in here. Now let's display the filter. How do we do it? I can copy the facet, like everything from here, remove unnecessary code, but 500 lines of code and refactoring that will take a lot of time. So we can use the Shopify, like the code they provide. If you come to the documentation in the support storefront filtering, they already have a code for the collection and the search page. If I scroll down, this is for the collection page. It is just I don't know, like 100 lines of code, much less, right? So I can copy this, like 500 and 100. This is a lot of differences. And in here we are going to write the form in here. If I save it for now, let's see how it will display. The reason I put this over the facet is because in the facet they have custom tags, and these custom tags depend on the JavaScript, this facet.js. This one is pure HTML. That's why it is dependency free, and we can use it freely in here, and it should display everything properly. That is how easy it is to add all these filters. But it is not all we have. Like we have to design it, we have to add all those JavaScript thing. Now it looks properly, we have to design it a little bit. First of all, this clear all will show if you have product filter, but it is already showing in here. Not something that we want, but I can remove that. For now, let's display them properly in here. Let's see how it works. First of all, it doesn't depend on any JavaScript. It is pure HTML using summary and details. If you know summary and details stack, this is how you can display like an accordion with pure like HTML, and it says open and close, something like this. And if I say any stock, and click this apply, it is a button. It is going to add all those filtering in the URL, which we talked in the previous video, right? And now this availability in stock is applied in here. I can click on this and it will remove it from the URL. That is applying, but it is refreshing the page. We have to make it Ajax. We have to design it. We have to display it properly. Now let's do that. First of all, let's come to this filter, summary. Let's make this display flex. It might get rid of this, but we can add our own icon. So design is very important, but I just want to show you how easy and powerful Tailwind CSS is and how we can design it easily. So let's put flex item center justify between. For now, why I put justify between? Because I want to add another icon in here. So this is how it will show the label, and just after this I'm going to display a span of, let's say, X for now. Let's say this is an icon. If I refresh the page, now this is how it will display everything nicely. Instead of this X, I can display an arrow. Since we have the icon, I can include icon arrow right. I can show you that icon arrow right is inside this snippet. We already previously used this, but we have it here. So we render it, and we also give it slightly some class, like width of, let's say 8 for 2 rem. Maybe that's too much. Let's give it 6. Let's see how it will look. We refresh the page, and this is how it will display the arrow, right? It is displaying nicely. Now let's give them a little bit of more pixel, like more like width for this. If I come here and say class of font medium, or let's give it bold or semi-bold, and see how it will look. If I refresh this, now it is much better. The filter is at the top. So let's give this also a little bit of design. I'm going to say border bottom, and let's give it also padding bottom of 4, and see how it will display. And also the font of this one should be also medium. So if I refresh it, this is how it will look, and it should, oops, font medium didn't apply. I think it should be semi-bold. And also when I say padding bottom, it should also give it a little bit of margin bottom. So we can see, okay, it looks fine for now. Also it should have a little bit of spacing in here. If you want the spacing, just come here. This is the filters that we have, and let's give it a margin right, which is from the right side of, let's say 2 rem. this one will be 2 rem, and let's refresh this one more time. This is the amount of space it will display in here. Now one more thing I have to add is, you see when we toggle, this one should change to displaying in another direction. It should display down, this icon. If you check these details, it adds this attribute of open to itself when it is open. So when it is open, it should display like another direction to the bottom. So let's see how we can do that. We cannot do that with Tailwind, but we can write custom CSS. So we can go to this class and I'll open the app.scss. Let's come at the bottom. Let's put a filter of collection filters. This is the filter form, and we have filter group. The reason I put inside is because I might do it in the future. I might add some more design to it. So what we want to do is, when we say this one has this open attribute, so we can say and open, what we can do is, you should go inside of this, find this SVG and rotate this. So we can find the SVG that we have in here, but the best way would be to give it an icon. So we are going to say it should transform, rotate 180. 180 is not what we want 90 degree. So for now, if I save it, let's wait for this to compile. Let's refresh it. If I click on this, you can see it toggle down that. Now these selected things should also be designed, but here is the thing. Let me filter and press the apply. It will display this here, like the filters that we have applied in the URL. If I check this guideline, it is displaying the filters at the top in here. Let's do that and let's design that. We should call it a day, but yeah, there are more things to do. The reason I want to show all of this to you is because it is easy to do. Okay, let's come here to the filter, and where is that filter apply? If I scroll down at the bottom, this is where the active filters are. So what I can do is, I can grab all of these active filters from here, cut them. Let's go to the collection page and let's display just right beside the sorting in here. You know, the sorting is displaying flex end. So what we can do is, I know it is checking if the sorting is enabled, but it should also check if the filtering is enabled. So in here again, we are going to use flex. For this one, we display it here, and these will be the active filters. Nothing more that we can add here. For now, if I save it, let's see how it will display. If I refresh, it will display something like this. Okay, that's fine. And what I can do is, I can also give this page width and remove this page width from here. Now let's come and refresh. This is how it will display, and let's say justify between. So it should add justify between, and items should be in the center. This is how it will look now. I think it looks nice to display them in here. I think that's totally fine to, we can display it in this side, but it is fine to have it here. Also, this is the X icon, this is in stock availability, and this is clear all. It doesn't display them properly because, okay, first of all, if it is a range price, it will display this filter because in the price it is different. Otherwise, it will display this, and it also display the filter all always. This is the filter all. So let's see how we can add some other color. This is the color for the clear filter all. We can say clear all, give it some design. Do you want me to design it now here? But yeah, I think that's something I should do. I know the video will get longer, but you will learn a lot. First of all, let's give this one a little bit of class. Oops. We give it a padding of Y for 1, and padding X should be 4, and we also give it a rounded full. And let's give it a background. Now how do I select the background? I can come here and say light, dark, whatever, BG, something like this, and the text should be white. Let's see how it will display. If I refresh this, doesn't display because the class are not available yet, especially this background dark. It didn't pick that. I don't know, maybe this is the old version of Tailwind, but it is not compiling that. So instead of that, we can use a custom color. So if I come here, I really like this UX. Okay, so what I can do is, I normally do this. You see this color picker? I can come here and pick this color. This is the color I want to use. If you want to use a custom color in Tailwind, all you have to do is put it inside this bracket, and that will compile down this as a background color for you. Very nice, right? So if I come here, give it a refresh, it should add that for the filter. And the font size is a bit large, but that's okay. This is availability. It shows in stock and X icon. This is for that the filter that we have in here. Again, I will come here. I don't know what is camel case that is applying. For this one, we will also need this part of it. They should all look similar to each other. So we add all of this, and for the background, let's again come to this UX and pick this color, very light gray. I can come to go to Tailwind documentation and find out which color exactly that is, but I like to stick with this. For now, let's refresh it, and this is how it will display. We want to have some more spacing between them, right? So what we can do is, this is the filters that we have in here, and we can say, okay, display it in a flex and space X from X direction. Give us some spacing. If I refresh this again, you can see this spacing in here. Let's add some more filters like black and green in here. Let's apply it. It shows as a color in here. Only this product have. If you remember, we add only to this product. That's why it shows like this. One more thing I want to add is a little bit of design to this spacing, and all of that should display properly. Now you see all of this has a proper design and also line between them. Once CSS trick, I think not CSS trick, it is like a Tailwind trick that I show you. If I come to the filter, how would you display line between each of this? You can say, I don't know, you can go to custom CSS and say display line for not the first one and not the last one, just between them. How would you display? With Tailwind, it is really easy. So if I scroll up a little bit, you can see it is looping through each filter. Means availability, price, color, and size. Each of them is going to be inside these details. So the parent will be this filter form. We can use this divided, not that color, divide X or Y. From the Y direction, we can say divided. Okay, I don't know if, yeah, divide Y, it will give a line between them from the Y direction. So if I refresh this, you can see those lines between them, not the top line because it is the border bottom. This one, availability, has an underline and all of this. And that is how easily we can display lining in here. And also a padding of Y, let's say a 2 for each of this, so it will display better spacing for this. I think it looks much nicer like this. And also one more thing, since we have the same padding, let's give it the same margin, so it will display nicely in here. But inside we have to design them, like apply button and everything else, and you can see all of them display properly and nicely in here. The X icon does not look good. Instead of the X icon, we can again come here, scrolling to the bottom, you see this X icon. I really don't like this. So how would you replace it? Again, just the last trick that I can show you. In here I will include Okay, we have icon close, and we render it. Let's also give it a width with a class. I don't know, 5 should be fine. And the same thing, we just copy it and use it in here. Yes, that's all we need. Let's refresh it. It is not looking fine. Yeah, that's fine, because this one should be flex. Item center space X is going to be 2. It is not the space X that you are thinking about, but yeah, it will give it a spacing from 2 sides, and the same thing goes here. Okay, cool. Let's refresh. Yes, it will display nicely and properly in here. I can do better than this. I can give it more of spacing, like more padding or margin from the 2 sides, but I think it looks fine for now for the filtering. And we have all of this selected in here. Now the video will get longer, but I will design the rest of it behind the scene. For the JavaScript part, it will be in another video. I hope this video has been informative and you learn how easy it is to use storefront filtering in the collection page. Similar thing will happen on the search page. I might cover that in the future video, but for now, this is the collection page filtering, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.